children of the night. What music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's that?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you open.
Welcome to Final Guys. Shh. This week we're going to talk about A Quiet Place, which is unfortunate because the three of us cannot keep our mouths shut. I'm your host, Jack, and with me are my two buddies, as usual, Jason and Hunter. How you doing, boys?
I was doing fine till Hunter joined this.
That's the sound of success, brothers.
Shh.
This
See,
episode
this-
brought to you
this
by
is
Dale's
why-
Pale Ale.
We would not last a minute in the Quiet Place world because we'd be
First of
cracking
all-
beers and burping.
My thunder farts would have me dead in 3 hours. Minimum.
I can just see you reading the morning paper and it says "Stay quiet, stay alive," and you're just cracking beers.
So, in case you haven't guessed, this week's featured movie is A Quiet Place. We're going to get to that in a little while. And what we'll do is, as usual, a non-spoiler section, and then we'll give a warning and we'll go into spoilers. And if you have not seen this movie and you're in the chat room, turn the sound down so you don't hear it. If you're listening to the podcast, go watch it and then come back for the spoiler part because you really don't want to spoil this movie. Having said that, let's jump to the news unless anybody's got anything to.
Drinking rules.
Oh, that's right, the drinking rules.
I think 2 out of 3 of us are drinking tonight. I don't know if Jason is. Are you?
Cheers.
So I drank about a year's worth of beer this weekend, so I'm good.
Oh, okay. You're allowed. You got to give the liver a break. Okay, boys and girls, here we go. Here are the words. If you hear these words spoken by these people or all three of us, you must take a drink. And it cannot be water because this is not drinking with Jason. So if Jack says either of these words, actress, language, or stand, take a drink. If I say pregnant, I'm pregnant, y'all. Rocket or effects, imbibe away. If Jason says tense. I just thought he was excited. Blunt or silo. Oh, silo's perfect for that mountain boy. Drink up. And if any of the three of us say alien, implant, or sign, get ready to get faced.
I haven't
There you
lived in
go.
the mountains in like 12 years, but you think I'm still out there milking cows?
You can take
Just 12 years.
you can take the boy out of the mountains, but you can't take the mountain out of the boy. You ready?
It is fairly true.
Cow tipping after this episode.
All right. Well, Jack, why don't you tell us the news? Okay, Jack. Gentlemen, you're both big Stephen King fans. Whenever we bring it up, you're all like, "Oh, I'm such a big Stephen King fan." So I got this for the both of you. What do you think of The Stand as far as in the lineup of Stephen King? Is it your favorite?
I love The Stand.
My favorite version is the extended version.
The Stand is
So-
my favorite Stephen King novel.
Is it?
Yep.
It's up there for me. Top 3.
Excellent. Well, what'd you think of the movie? The TV for
I
TV.
barely remember it, except the man in black had a mullet that was pretty bitchin'. But I don't remember a lot of it. It's been so long.
Yeah, it didn't hold. It didn't hold any fascination for me.
Well, I have good news for you then, because it's going to be remade. They're going to adapt it into a 10-hour limited series. That's perhaps the good news. The bad news, it's going to be on CBS All Access, which is that like CBS Netflix that the new Star Trek show's on. Therefore, I've
Yes.
never seen the new Star Trek show.
Are they going to air it on CBS at all, or is it just going to go on this all access crap?
Well, they showed the first episode of the new Star Trek show on CBS to tease you, and then the rest of it. And I don't even know if CBS All Access is free. I imagine it is, but I don't know. I've never felt the urge to go seek it out. So I don't know. Unless this gets like super duper reviews, I don't see me seeking it out again. But if somebody tells me, "Oh my God, this is the next Stranger Things" or something like that, then maybe I gotta rethink that. They don't know when this is going to come out. Some of the guys working on this are working on the new X-Men movie, I think. So the New Mutants and stuff. So they're the article I read said don't expect this for a while, but it's in the works.
It's going to have to be about 87 hours long if they want to get everything from the book in it.
Well, they said 10 hours. Actually, somewhere in this article, it seems like the idea of doing something that was the Stand, that was a mix of TV and movie theater, kind of like what they were doing with the Dark Tower, or maybe it was the Dark Tower. I think that's been abandoned. I think that has been abandoned, thanks to
Well, if The Stand sucks, I'm sure Tim Meyer will think it's the greatest Stephen King adaptation of all time because he's still waxing his pole over the Shining TV miniseries.
Oh,
What? You're kidding me.
I don't know. I'm just assuming. I guarantee I'm right. I will guarantee he's like, oh, that's far superior to the movie.
He and Stephen King are the two who believe so.
The only two on Earth. And maybe Mick Garris. Didn't he do that?
Yeah, he probably is a fan of it too. That's fair.
Yeah.
my feeling on this is, let's see if the CBS All Access is still in existence by the time this is done, because CBS may throw in the towel on this thing or make it show it on CBS first and then put it there on demand or something like that. Who knows? But
By the way, I love instant gratification. Tim Meyer writes in, I love the Shining TV miniseries.
you know what? Tim Meyer's got to turn in his horror card for 2 days just for that.
You know what? I'm going to tell everybody, read his books and just ignore his movie picks, and you'll be all right.
I look at Tim as he loves everything. Good, bad, he's a fan.
I know. Did you like that torture movie? Yeah, it was great, man. It's great. Best torture movie
By the
of
way,
all
I
time.
just looked up CBS All Access. It is not free.
It's $5.
That's insanity.
Ain't paying it. I pay enough for all these other things. That's it.
What
I'm at
else
my
you got to
limit.
depress me with?
Well, my friends, the article I saw is calling it a reboot. So I don't know if it's a reboot or if they're just bringing it back, but the Puppet Master is coming back.
Oh, well, yeah, Barbara Crampton's going to be in it. She was shooting that last
you
year.
step all over my story here.
I didn't know you went that in depth. I'm sorry.
Barbara Crampton's going to be in it,
What? Really?
who was in the original.
This is
That's right.
original information.
Sorry.
She's going to play Officer Carol Dureski.
Oh,
There was actually a photo of her. Still lovely after all these years.
she is.
The title of this movie is Puppet Master: The Littlest Reich.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Let's see. Oh, here's a synopsis. Oh, it's gonna this is premiering at the Overlook Film Festival in New Orleans next month. So it's coming up. I
The
feel
Overlook Hotel in New Orleans?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Overlook Film Festival in New Orleans. We should go to that. Synopsis: of a recently divorced young man who discovers a mint condition Blade doll in his deceased brother's closet and plans to sell the toy at a convention in Oregon celebrating the 30th anniversary of the infamous Toulon murders. All hell breaks loose at the Pottsville Lodge during the auction when a strange force animates all the various puppets throughout the convention as they go on a bloody killing spree.
Oh, love it. I'm in.
Yeah.
Is this still full moon? Are they still making movies?
Let me see.
Half Moon.
Tomahawk screenwriter S.
Oh.
Gallagher, S. Craig Zahler.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Wait, what's he doing?
He wrote the screenplay or directed it?
It's by him. It says here. So let's
So he
see.
must have written it. That's kind of
he
big.
wrote this. He wrote the script.
And
What?
Cell Block 99. Come on, that's the
There
man.
you go. Doesn't say anything about full moon in this, but
Will they be featuring demonic toys? That's all I want to know.
I hope so. I'd like to see Buzz Lightyear and Woody in this as well.
Somebody's poisoned the watering hole.
There's a snake in my boot.
I'm actually excited. I own all the Puppet Master movies on Blu-ray. It's ridiculous, but
Do you want it to be a continuation or a reboot?
I don't care. What does it matter?
Okay,
Well,
one
I
more.
mean, you don't want to mess up the extended universe they have going on there with Puppet
No.
Master versus evil dolls or whatever the hell it was, or
Demonic
demonic
toys.
toys. That was it.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess that up.
No. You want some continuity there. That's funny. I'm in.
Okay.
One more thing.
One
Just
more
to,
thing.
appease
Oh.
you guys. Tim Meyer in the chat is saying he thinks the TV version is superior to the movie.
Dude, it's like
Tim, you're a friggin' idiot.
it's like I can look inside his head and I can see all these wrong choices.
I believe everybody's entitled to their opinion, but that is not an opinion that's just not right.
I fucking love Tim Meyer. I swear to God.
The only thing that movie has is sweet, sweet Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah, she's good in it.
But she's
I also had the Campbell Soup kid with that
this Campbell
stupid
Soup kid.
diaper lip face.
There's so many stupid cliche things in that movie. Now that we're talking about it, where like they're in a room and then they walk out and like the cash register goes by itself, or a rocking chair moves. I mean, the freaking Munsters was done. It was a better horror than that thing.
Heyman.
All right, are you guys fans of Joe Hill?
Yeah, it's good,
Of
right?
course.
That's Stephen King's son, right?
Correct the mundo.
So I've not read anything of his, but he's got something called
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu,
Mhm.
which is Nosferatu as a license plate. Have you read that?
Mm-hmm.
I have it. I just haven't read it yet.
It's long.
Well, now you don't have to, because there's going to be a supernatural horror series based on this best-selling novel, and it's going to be premiering on 10 episodes in 2019.
On CBS All Access.
I am so glad those destitute kings keep getting more money. I was worried about how they were going to feed their families.
It was a
It's
lean
being
year
done-
last year.
It's being made by AMC Studios. So this and the guy Jamie O'Brien from Fear of the Walking Dead and Hell on Wheels created the show. So I think this is an AMC.
Oh, good. A guy who created 2 shitty shows. That should be
Yeah.
awesome. They'll
what-
never hire me now.
Jason, what do you think of that since you read it?
I think it could be pretty sweet. AMC's
Why?
doing pretty good with the terror, so I've got some hope that maybe they can throw together another miniseries here. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I like these 10 episode things where you could just have one contained story and not have like 16 seasons of something. Let's just
Yeah.
in and out.
Yeah.
Or 13 episodes of another superhero.
Hunter Shay.
Not
Okay, that's all I got for news. So with that, let's go to what did we watch this week?
We have such sights to show you.
All right, we're back. Who would like to go first and tell us about all the wonderful things you've watched this week?
Ooh, Mr. Carter. Mr.
Hunter?
Carter.
You're up.
Okay.
This will take 20 minutes.
It's not gonna. I'm gonna go quick. Because I will tell you all, we did talk before this episode and say we need to speed this crap up to get to the movie, because the main movie tonight is more important than the stupid shit we watched. So, anyway, I went back. I watched The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Good flick.
Love it.
I hadn't seen it since I watched it drunk on tequila on New Year's Eve when it was on demand a couple of years ago. And I loved it then, and I love it even more now, because now I was sober and I can enjoy the nuances and the atmosphere of the movie. I mean, I don't think I put it on my top 13 list that year, but I think it was because I had already written the whole thing, and I was like, I'm not rewriting this and
I
trying
think
to
I
shoehorn
added
this
it to
in.
mine at the last second.
Yeah, if I redid that year now, I'd probably put it in my top 5. It's a movie I can watch again and again and again. Not just for watching Olin Catherine Kelly laying naked on the slab, which was all fine. Great job she did there. But I mean, you got Brian Cox from Trick or Treat, the mean guy.
The original Hannibal Lecter.
That's right. Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
He's also X-Men.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Striker!
And Emil Hirsch from The Darkest Hour, if anyone liked that.
Girl Next Door. Duh.
Well, that wasn't that. What's that girl's name?
Elisha. The girl from 24.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. She's
Kim Bauer to me.
and Wax, House of Wax. She was in that too.
You know who's in that? Timothy Oliphant.
Cuthbert.
Cuthbert. Yes, she was in a Weezer video too.
She's in old school.
I like Brian Cox. I liked in this movie because he's usually the bad guy because he looks like it. But in this case, he is a father. He's a mortician, and his son works with him, and they have this kind of like they're underneath the ground, and this body.
Oh, hold on.
In.
Tim Myers saying Brian Cox is the only good thing about that movie. So he
boy.
doesn't like this movie, and he likes The Shining.
There is
honestly.
Not... Really?
We have to. Can we like send an electric shock through the freaking computer?
I'm gonna have words with him.
Crack his back, kids.
Yeah. But by the way, directed by I never can say this guy's name right, Andre Ovidal, who did Troll Hunter. So if you have Troll Hunter and Autopsy of Jane Doe in your pocket, I'm pretty sure you can just live off that for the rest of your life.
I didn't know that was the same guy. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's and two very different movies. But the atmosphere in this movie it's tremendous. It's creepy. It is downright creepy and great performances. So check that out. Another movie I've been dying to watch, and now I just want to kick myself in the taint. The Love Witch.
I watched that.
Okay. So The Love Witch is about a witch who wants to find love and creates spells and potions. And I heard so much about this movie. So I was like, all right, let me do this. First of all, I didn't realize it was 2 hours long.
It looks like a really cool 70s throwback when you watch the trailer.
It is shot definitely to look like something late 60s, early 70s. I'm sure they found out what lenses they used back then.
I mean, it's 2 hours long, but it feels like 6, so it has that going for it.
Well, here's the problem. Nothing happens. It's 2 hours of nothing ever happening. It's gorgeous to look at. The color palette is amazing. I mean, you've got scenes where everyone's wearing these hues of pink and hues of red, and it's really cool to look at. And I will say, Samantha Robinson, who plays Elaine, the witch, I can look at her.
She is smoking
all damn day. She's probably one of the best looking women I've ever seen in my life.
She doesn't need any love potions.
Hell no. Or that hair extension thing. She was gorgeous. But my problem was just nothing happens. And I don't know. I assume people were intentionally acting like blocks of wood. That was the aesthetic they were going for. I don't know. And when they got to the scene of LARPing witches in the woods, I was like, what the hell is this? Why are these people singing? What is the purpose? It's stupid. But
should look up some interviews with the director sometime.
Oh, it's a female director too.
Mm-hmm. Just read them. I'm not even gonna say anything.
Oh God.
It's
okay. I'm gonna, because I put 2 hours in. I might as well go another 3 by reading about it. I will say, as a completist, I'm glad I watched it, because if a movie gets a lot of buzz, good or bad, I want to see it. So I did. I found a new actress that Jesus Christ, head over heels in love with. That's all good. But if you're sitting down to enjoy a good, quick movie, that's not the movie to see. So
we watched that movie in our office on like a Friday night after a long day, and
a little softcore porn going on.
We were like, oh, we watched the trailer. We're like, we got to watch this. And we have some kids who like do part-time work for us that were hanging out. We had bought pizza and we're kind of hanging. So we're like, we'll just pop this on. So a few people pull over. So again, this is kind of like normies, but not just normies, but like millennials who have no attachment to 60s and 70s stuff.
Oh God.
And so we're like sitting through this and kind of talking and whatever. They are just like, now they feel like they can't get up without being awkward. But you could just tell that they are hating every minute of it. Yeah. We don't even like it, but for them, we're like, ha, ha, ha.
They're going to sit there and be awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So anyway, I give or take, whatever, give it a shot. It's free. It's Prime. And I'll just go quickly. A book that I read, it's Ararat by Christopher Golden. It won the Bram Stoker Award for Best Novel last year. It's about a group of people who climb Mount Ararat in Turkey and discover what could be Noah's Ark.
Ooh, In Search of Noah's Ark. Remember that?
I thought of that when I was watching it. It's got a little bit of mystery, intrigue, a lot of monster stuff. It's a really cool book. It flies. So if you like Stranded by Bracken McLeod, you're gonna love Ararat by Christopher Golden.
Ooh.
So I got it in the library too. So give it a shot, boys and girls.
Nice.
I looked it up to put it in the show notes and saw it was $15 on Kindle and just
Free in the library.
that's just so much money.
It came out in hardcover by a major publisher, so I'm sure your library will have it.
All right.
All right, Jason, you're up.
All right, I've got a couple quick recommendations here. First, everyone needs to go on Amazon Prime. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this movie before, but I watched it again this weekend, and I want everyone to check it out. It's a little tiny film everyone should see. Swamp Ape, 2017. It's free on Prime. It's only an hour. It's the best hour you're ever going to spend in your life.
Really? I have it on my queue.
Directed by a guy named Jeff Ward, which is a pseudonym for an amazing director, David Dakota, who I've seen a few of his films. They're always fun. So go check out Swamp Ape, free on Prime. I'm saying nothing else. It is glorious. It is glorious. I finished Channel Zero Season 2 this week.
Mm-hmm.
I am dying to start Season 3 tomorrow. If you saying it's better than the second season?
It's better than the second season. For a horror fan, they pull from so many great horror movies throughout those 6 episodes that it's a love letter to horror fans. So you're gonna flip over it. And it's got Rutger fucking Hauer.
Well, that's like 5 more points.
Yeah, what more do you need?
If it's better than the second season, I'm going to end up agreeing with you and saying this might be the best horror show on television. And no one has seen it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, the ratings are terrible. They don't know if they're going to get a 4th season.
Well, apparently the 4th season's done. They don't know if they're going to get a 5th season.
Oh, they did the 4th season.
Yeah, I think they shot it almost at the same time they did 3. So it's coming out pretty soon, I think.
Oh,
hopefully.
Beautiful.
So it's a shame. But I'm going to check that out next week and report back.
Cool.
Excellent.
I watched a movie from 1989 called I, Madman, which was one I always used to see at the video store and just never got around to seeing. Have you guys ever seen it?
Yep, way back in the day.
I, Madman? I don't remember.
It's such an odd movie. It's this woman who works in a bookstore, finds a book, and as she's reading it, it's about a guy who he's in love with this woman, and so he cuts all his features off and then kills people and takes their nose and puts it on his face and their ear and is reconstructing his face to be more appealing to her, some crazy shit like that. And as she's reading this book, she starts to actually see the guy from the book manifesting. So he's trying to kill her just like he's trying to kill the antagonist in the book, the protagonist in the book. Wow, I'm good with words. And it's a cool idea, and I liked, there was some pretty good gore stuff in it and some pretty good things like that, some good effects. But the music was odd, the tone was odd. It almost had this fairy tale quality at times that it was kind of hard for me to pinpoint, but it didn't quite work for me. But
Right.
I see a lot of people seem to really like this movie, and I can see why. I think I went in expecting more of just a straight horror thriller kind of thing, and it was just, I don't know, tonally it was odd. So not really my thing, but I could see why some people would like it. And that was I don't remember where I saw that. Oh, somebody let me borrow a disc. So I, Madman, 1989.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the theater, actually. Jesus.
That's one that probably would have upset me.
Well, back then it was only like $3 for a movie.
You got all the popcorn and a hooker.
Yeah, it was fine.
I finally finished the Andrew Mayhem thriller series by Jeff Strand. The 4th one was Lost Homicidal Maniac Answers to Shirley.
The 4th in the trilogy.
The 4th in the trilogy. And as always, Jeff Strand. You're going to get your dialogue, you're going to get your laughs, you're going to get some crazy gore stuff thrown in there and violence. If that's what you like, you're never disappointed with the Jeff Strand novel.
Yeah, I always say to writers, if you're struggling with your dialogue, read about 10 Jeff Strand books in a row and just absorb the cadence of how it's done.
He's really good. His humor is so on point always. So
Yeah.
I'm done. That's it.
All right. Let me get into mine. So first of all, are you guys caught up with the X-Files?
Nope.
No, I got 4 episodes left to go.
I
I
watched the first
totally
one
forgot
anyway.
about it.
I had a bunch of them DVR'd, and I made a concerted effort to finish it so I could talk about it here. I won't give away too much, but I'll say it rebounds well from a rough start, and I will stick to my guns of when this show ignores the mythology, it's like the best show on TV. They were funny, witty, clever. And when they get into the mythology, it's just so convoluted and it's been so long that it drags it down. However, the last episode kind of serves as a series finale if they don't. It leaves it open enough that they could keep going if they want, but it gives you enough closure on some stuff too.
Wow.
So if you have them waiting there and you're like, should I watch them or not? It's worth banging through them.
Yeah, I've avoided everything I could. Anytime I see news, I'm like, nope, not going to read it. So I'm waiting.
There's one episode that supposed to take place in Connecticut. Okay, so last week Jason mentioned the movie Backcountry, so I went and I watched it. This is the couple goes into the woods and there's a bear attack.
Love that movie.
So I watched it on Netflix. I'd never seen it. It's been one I've thought about. So this is very different movie than what I was expecting because there's so many tropes and cliches that I expected to happen, but I guess it's loosely based on a true story.
It's based on a collection of true bear attacks. That's what I found out when I looked it up.
So things happen in the movie, like they meet a guy in the woods at the beginning of the movie who's kind of a dick. And in a normal movie, he'd be some kind of villainous person. And there'd be some sort of subplot with him. They'd show the bear attacking somebody else or somebody doing something bad, like Poacher would be attacked by the bear early in the film or something. Not this. This is actually like we went camping and got attacked by a bear. So a bunch of stuff not having to do with a bear unfolds. So you get to know the characters and their situation. There's some clues as to they may be heading towards bear terrain and things like that. And then when the actual bear stuff happens, it's so well done. The big bear attack in this movie is one of the best attack scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Way better than Grizzly.
Yeah.
And it looks like they didn't have shit for money on that movie, so they just did a phenomenal job pulling that bear attack off.
Yeah, and when one of the victims is screaming, it's one of the most convincing sounds of somebody getting attacked I've ever seen in a movie.
It's acting.
So I would definitely recommend seeing that. It's on Netflix. Check it out. It's just, it was funny. I'm watching it going, well, this is just kind of taking its time, isn't it? But then I was very glad that it stuck to like, this is the story of what happened here and not. So then I had DVR'd another movie that I actually was getting confused with this movie. So I did I did two bear movies this week. The other one I watched is called Into the Grizzly Maze.
What?
This one's got James Marsden, what's his name? Thomas Jane.
Really?
Piper Perabo, Billy
Coyote
Bob
Ugly.
Thornton, Scott Glenn. So all these like name brand people in this movie. And this felt like one of those movies you'd watch like when you were a kid on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon that was like dubbed for TV or maybe a made for TV movie that you would watch. And it's the complete opposite of Backcountry. It's terrible special effects. And there are just times where it's like turning into a decent movie. And then the bear is like, they show stock footage of a bear running and then they show like a person running and they cut back and forth and then they do a little CG here or there. There's fire that looks really fake. There's poachers, all the stuff like the shady guy here and that, all the dumb things that you would expect in this. And I'm going, how did they get all these name brand people to be in this like total schlock fest?
Well, they're sea level.
There's so many of them.
How are we going to get Piper Perabo?
So she plays a
Scott
deaf.
Glenn, we can pay him in Tall Boys.
Piper Perabo is deaf, and I swear to God, there's 2 or 3 scenes where she does the same exact thing, where she turns around, surprised by the bear because she didn't hear it, and then she wants to run or something, but instead she falls backwards. I was like, "Is it? Didn't we see that already?" So, so if you're perusing the bear attack section of the video store, I'm gonna say go for Backcountry and don't go into the Grizzly Maze. But if you want to see something that's kind of laughable with a lot of identifiable people, then watch Into the Grizzly Maze. But you've been warned.
So
And
Bear
that's all I
Attack
got.
completists should tune in.
Yes.
This is why I need a video store so I can have a bear attack section.
What do you have in bear attacks?
We've got bloody.
Aisle 3 for 3 bears.
Right next to the golden showers room.
All right. With that, why don't we go to our main feature, Roll Tape.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
All right. We're back. This is one of the most anticipated movies of the year. So we were really excited and we all got out to the theater to see it. Jason, you're up. Give us the recap.
A family is living in the post-apocalyptic world where creatures have killed everyone by using sound. They are surviving by staying very quiet. They've developed an entire system that keeps them safe and keeps them silent. And they are preparing for the future in certain ways by trying to figure out these creatures. I'm trying to think of the best word. Trying to figure out a way to get through this armor plating they have and be able to fight back. And as it turns out, you find out at the beginning, Emily Blunt is pregnant, which adds a whole nother angle to the movie and being quiet, and it builds from there.
By the way, you didn't even prepare this. I'm amazed. You must really love this movie because for ADHD Brant to absorb this much,
ADHD Brant.
I'm impressed. Well, you know, I've noticed you get distracted easily, so I'm wow, blown away.
I'm not drinking tonight.
Good job.
I thought you could have just said silent but deadly, and there would have been no spoilers or anything, but you had to go into that big long thing. But thank you. Well done.
God damn it.
All right, Jason. So you were kind enough to recap it for us. What'd you think?
It's going to be hard for a movie to knock this off my top horror movie of the year list. This is one of the best theater experiences I've had with an audience in a long time, but not because of the usual crying or screaming at good scares or yelling out when someone's running upstairs or something you would get with a Friday the 13th film or a Paranormal Activity film. It was so dead silent in the movie theater that people stopped eating popcorn around us. People didn't whisper. They didn't get up to go to the bathroom. They did nothing. Everyone was so quiet because they were afraid if they made noise that these creatures were going to come. And I found myself being so tense watching this. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. There's maybe 6 lines of dialogue in the whole freaking movie, and I was in it the entire time. I adore it.
Hunter.
I went to a matinee at the Alamo Theater, and it was packed. And when you sat down, there was a little card that said, "This is a quiet movie. Here are non-crunching foods you should eat. Pretzels, whatever." So I noticed there was no popcorn. Nobody dared order popcorn. And I was sick at the time. Like, I was coughing for an hour and a half before I went. I'm like, I'm going to ruin this movie. Once it started, I was so, when you said tense, I haven't been this balled up with tension in my life. Closest maybe was Alien when I saw it in the theater when it first came out. I sat there and was absorbed, and they served me a beer at the beginning, and it took me an hour to realize I had a beer in front of me. This is the barometer by how engaged I was in this movie. I haven't felt this way in a theater, in a movie, and I can't tell you. And at one point, I turned to my daughter, like halfway through, I looked, I said, I can't take this anymore. She kind of looked at me like I was nuts. I was like, yeah, whatever. You're young, you're stupid. But I'm with you. In fact, I'm going to say it's impossible to knock this off the top of my list, only because when I walked out of that theater, I said, this might be my favorite movie of all time.
No
and
hyperbole.
I'll explain later. I got to watch it again, and my mother wants to go, so I'll take her to see it. but it's been 4 or 5 days. I'm still feeling that vibe. So that's how big it was for me.
Wow. Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite horror movie?
Favorite horror movie of all time?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start my comments by saying I was that guy in the theater eating the popcorn and making the noise.
You dick.
So the person I was with, we were sharing popcorn, and I kept reaching over and getting into the bag. And at one point, she just goes, "Shh, you gotta be quiet with the popcorn." I had no I wasn't realizing that it was really quiet. Everybody, I think it was just everybody was. It reminded me of The Sixth Sense in that you never knew where a ghost was going to pop up in that movie, so everybody was really on edge. You could feel it in the theater, and this was the same thing. You're just like, at any moment, somebody can sneeze or cough or something like that, and the freaking monster is going to show up. So everybody was. So having said that, I think seeing it in a crowded theater was half the fun of this. I also felt like, wow, what a great movie, and what a difference great writing, directing, and an A-list cast does, because we've seen 100 movies that are something like this, but done in lesser hands. And when you put Emily Blunt in a movie, you realize why she gets paid the big bucks. She draws people in, and then you see this performance. And John Krasinski even said it. He goes, "I never actually worked with her before." And she's just like working with my wife, who I know is talented. I get to see it firsthand, and I'm like, wow, she's just amazing. So
he's no slouch either.
He was tremendous.
He's Jim fucking Halpert.
Yeah, so I think A-list cast, the writing was great. He sort of took his, I read an article that he took his cue from Jaws, where trying to sparingly show the monster. So I'm going to say same thing as you guys. Was very, very happy with this movie.
See, my thing, I've never, we see with horror, you get a lot of, usually it gets louder and louder and jump scare after jump scare. The fact that they employed the silence in this makes this totally original. At a viewing experience you've never experienced before. And I think this, to me, is more original than last year's Get Out that everyone crowed about. This is the movie everyone should be crowing about. And luckily they are. And in this new world, this could be Academy Award contender material.
Well, along those lines, without crapping on a great movie like Get Out, I would say...
I'm not crapping. I'm just saying that Get Out was overhyped.
Yeah, you're kind of crapping on it, but that's semantics.
Nobody would have cared if it was Vietnamese people being captured.
So one of the things that's going on here, though, is look at the past few years. If you take Split, you take Get Out, you take Shape of Water, and there's several others. Horror is getting kind of like some more, non-horror people are taking a dip into horror and elevating the genre a little bit, because they're bringing professional chops at a different perspective and some budget to it, and putting A-list actors. So we're kind of heading into this area where when, freaking Shape of Water wins Best Picture, this comes out and is like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. What's going on here? Are we in for more kind of A-list horror movies?
It is weird, right? It feels like I walked into Bizarro World the way things have flipped around.
I do kind of have a slight theory about this that I'm sure is 100% wrong, but Disney and Marvel are kind of ruining movies slowly. The movie theater experience, not movies, the movie theater experience. They're making theaters pay them a higher percentage of ticket sales. If you have the new Black Panther movie, it has to be on X amount of screens or you can't have it, all kinds of bullshit like this. And there's these giant movies that are hard for other, if you want to make a movie for $80 million, it's going to have trouble competing if it's an action film against a $200 million superhero film. So I have a feeling we're seeing a lot of the Blumhouse model of lower budget, high quality horror that can make a big return. So I'm wondering if that's why we're starting to see more A-list talent get involved with it. I could be wrong.
Or you could be right, because the couple of coming attractions I saw were just a bunch of A-list actors in horror movies. And I'm excited to see those because it just brings a gravitas that you don't normally. Horror is usually, oh, here's a girl. This is her first acting job. She'll get naked in 3 seconds and have a ball with it. But
And I'm still looking forward to those movies.
Oh, absolutely. We watch those too.
Well, and to flip what you're saying a little bit, though, there's such a need for content out there. There's all these platforms that need original shows, movies, and this and that. So if you can put out a hot movie like this, the return on it's going to be great. But what the Marvel movies are doing is Ant-Man is a heist movie in a superhero movie. Captain America is like a political thriller in a superhero movie. And some of these horror movies are coming out are like it's another kind of movie and a horror movie. So, Get Out was like a commentary on society. Shape of Water was this fairy tale thing. So these skilled people are coming in and saying, well, we can make something that's scary or have horror elements to it, but bring more to it. And it's like an art form that's a little bit untapped and I'm sure there's the directors like Del Toro who just have a love of this stuff and now can actually execute it.
Right, and they're not trapped in a Disney formula, because all those Disney movies are just becoming one big fucking formula.
Yes,
here's how much money we need. Here's all the beats in it. Blah, 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 blah. So
we're in a weird time, a great time, where horror's being treated with art and care, whereas a lot of times it's just been churning stuff out. I mean, remember the late 90s when it was just freaking god-awful, the stuff they were cranking out. It's kind of the opposite right now, but we're getting a ton of it, and I'm loving it, so keep them coming.
Yeah. When I walked out of this movie, I looked at my daughter, I said, this is my favorite horror movie. And then as I ruminated about it, I realized, I was like, well, what movies do I always vacillate between the two as my favorite horror? The Thing and Alien. And a movie I don't talk about often, but is also up there, is Signs.
There's tons of signs in this.
And I was like, holy crap, all my favorite horror movies involve aliens. All 4 of them are about aliens.
I could have told you that.
You know what? I'm so close to it. I didn't see it. You can't see the forest for the trees. And this to me is the most terrifying of them all, because it just never let up. Because there's no prologue. You don't know where these things are from. You don't know how they took over. It starts on like day 89, and then it fast forwards to like 400 something days later. And you're just there. And you get to spend this time embedded with this family. So who really gives a shit how they got there? What's more important is this family and how they're trying to survive. And then you realize, wow, I'd be dead in 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Let's dive into the movie a little bit, because there's some more stuff I really want to talk about that made the tension in this so high. I'm trying to think of another movie experience where I was this tense sitting there for this long, and nothing's coming to mind, honestly.
No.
Well, that's a little bit where Jaws comes in, because anytime anybody's in the water in Jaws, people are holding their breath.
Yeah, but Jaws also has this valve where this release valve.
Yeah.
So you're not always in the water, and there's a little bit of comedy. And
this is Jaws where they're in the water the whole time.
Yeah, you're never out of the water.
But the writing on this, and I looked these guys up, and I'd actually seen a movie they did a couple years ago called Lighthouse, Light something. It was a kind of a found footage movie, if I recall, and it was decent. But these guys put so many amazing things in there that just ratchet up the tension. And right at the beginning, it's seeing a young boy and thinking, how the hell can a young kid at all, but particularly a young boy, navigate this? And it's just that right there. As soon as I saw him, I thought, oh, for God's sake, how do you get through this?
Yeah, well, they pet cemeteried him.
Well, here's the thing. Well, we should get into spoilers soon.
That's not a spoiler. It's 5 minutes in.
But the other thing I thought about was, what adult male would live through this? Because we all snore.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, snoring.
So it's like, oh, I'm dead. I'm dead in this world.
Yeah, and the first time when I saw it, when I'm like, you see Emily Blunt's pregnant, you're like, oh, well, they're all dead.
Oh, so apparently my buddy
I've
beside
never had
me,
a quiet baby.
I didn't remember saying this, but he said as soon as I saw she was pregnant, I went, what the fuck? Like, what are you thinking, dude? Pull out. What?
I know. Good Lord.
It's like the last thing I would ever do is try to
Yeah.
get someone pregnant. Oh my god.
All right, why don't we shoot up the spoiler flare so we can get into this? If you have not seen this movie, we are about to talk spoilers. So if you're in the chat room, turn the sound down. And if you're listening, this is your last warning. 3, 2, 1. Spoilers!
Yay.
Okay. To be honest with you, I wouldn't have even mentioned that she was pregnant in non-spoilers. Good job, you idiots.
Why? She's
You see it
pregnant in the coming
first 8
attractions.
minutes. Yeah,
Because you don't see it in the trailer. So if somebody
Yes,
hasn't
you
seen
do.
the
They
movie,
show her pushing out her fucking placenta in the tub in the trailer.
yeah, you see she's pregnant.
I didn't watch that trailer because I knew that I did not see a trailer where she was pregnant. Anyway, you guys suck at this. Great job spoiling the movie.
Good.
Go on.
Jesus Christ. Okay,
I
so
hate the word spoilers, so I'm going to spoil
8
everything.
minutes in, you see she's pregnant.
It doesn't matter if it happens at the beginning of the movie. It's something that happens in the movie.
Well, then what can we talk about? The poster?
Yes.
I love the poster. It was creepy.
Okay, so we'll continue with our movie review show where we're not allowed to talk about the film.
The fact that she was pregnant, I didn't see that in the trailer, and when she became pregnant, while I was watching the movie, I was like, oh crap. So that's all I'm saying is that was a spoiler.
So on the poster, she gave a great performance. Did you see the way she moved her mouth?
It's very airbrushed.
I
but
do
it was
want to
still
say
cool.
when the boy bit it at the beginning, that I totally didn't see it coming, but apparently my wife did because in the trailers there's only 2 kids. So she was like, "Wait a minute, there are 3 kids here. Something's going to happen." But when that happened, that just told me right away anything goes in this movie. And I think that really ratcheted up the tension for me a ton because I was just thinking, who the hell is going to go next?
Yeah.
Did you see Serenity?
Yeah.
So when couple of characters die in that movie, they did it. Joss Whedon said, he goes, "I needed to make you feel like anybody could die." So I did, and same thing right there. That was nobody's safe.
How dare he kill Ron Glass? But it also impacts the family dynamic because you can see this is a family. It's early in, but they've learned, and they've got this kind of unspoken trust between all of them, and that changes. But they're not heavy-handed with it either. But it has to change how everybody reacts with each other and how they feel going forward. That added a weight in a movie where nobody's talking. That's where this movie is brilliant.
That's also where Krasinski really shined. He conveyed so much with his face and his expressions and his body language.
With his eyes. I mean, that goddamn beard covers half his face.
Neckbeard was glorious.
I thought even having the boy died because of the deaf girl who didn't know how loud the toy was, that alone just added a whole level of guilt and another level of she can't hear things, so she doesn't even know when she's being loud. So they had to put the sand down on places where she can step. Otherwise, she'll have no idea if, is that creaking? Is that floorboard creaking? She just wouldn't know. So.
And by the way, for all you helicopter parents out there who we live in the safest we've ever been in our world, these parents live in a world where the slightest noise can get you killed, and the parents let them go. Did you notice that? Yep. It's like, I've taught you right from wrong. You know what to do. Feel free to go out, and we're going to assume you're coming home.
So that little girl is really deaf.
Yeah, I saw that.
She was phenomenal in this.
Yeah.
So I can't say enough about the perform. All 4 of them were just gut punch time.
The talking about the tension, It Follows also is one of those kind of movies where you never knew where that thing was going to be. So you're always a little bit on edge. One of the things, besides the fact that at any moment somebody could make a noise and those things came so fast, the nail in the
oh god,
Chekhov's nail. You're just waiting for that to happen. That is when that happened, I'm just going, this movie's brilliant.
Yeah. Every time a sound was made, I would curl up in my chair. People were going shh at the screen, but not trying to be dicks. Like, it just came out naturally because we were all being so quiet. It was I haven't cringed or jumped this much ever in a movie ever.
You want to talk about Emily Blunt's performance, where when her water breaks and then she steps on the nail and she's trying to be quiet while dealing with all this, and not being able to use dialogue to convey emotion or what she's thinking, just all on her face. It's just incredible.
So my friend who I saw this with is actually a doctor and delivers babies. So after the movie, I'm like, so how about that whole giving birth thing, whatever? And she goes, well, this was her 4th kid, so actually that was pretty realistic. That sucker would just slide right out.
That's so funny.
Still
gonna hurt.
Some of the women we were there with had said that they actually liked that she had to scream during the pregnancy too, and that they had anticipated that and had fireworks and whatever else in case of loud noises, and that because at first everyone was thinking, how the hell is she going to silently do this? But she had that moment where she finally broke, and I thought again that added a level of realism and intensity to it.
I was wondering if it was realistic that she didn't scream when she stepped on the nail, because I don't know if anybody could do that. And my friend was like, well, they've been conditioning themselves to be quiet. So it's like, okay,
they've conditioned themselves to be quiet, to not be startled when people grab you from behind. But it made sense. You do condition yourself to that. You learn. All right, just shut up.
But I mean, I stub my toe and I cry like a little baby. So,
but there are indigenous tribes all around the world who don't cry ever because it's just not in their nature.
Well, they should watch Brian's song and then see how they do.
Speaking of crying, now I don't know if I said it on this show. When I watched the Florida Project, I cried for the first time in the movie since Rudy, when my daughter was born 20 years ago, and I was sleep deprived, and it was 4 a.m. This movie elicited tears from me.
Wow.
And I've never had a horror movie do that before.
My wife cried twice during this.
I was choked the hell up to the point when even when the show was over and we're back in the car, I start talking about it and I had to shut up because I'm going to cry driving home.
I'm not crying. You're crying. I cried in Guardians of the Galaxy when he says, "We are Groot."
We are Groot.
Get all choked up.
No, but that's serious. I mean, the emotional roller coaster I was on was crazy.
They did such a good job with the tension between daughter and father, so that when things started happening at the end and you're realizing more of their relationship and more of where things are going, that was really well done. It sounds like I'm just gushing over this movie because I am. There's one thing in it that bothered me that I'll bring up at the end. But otherwise, I'm really looking forward to going back and watching it again because I really want to see all the newspaper clippings they would show at different times to try to get more of the backstory of what happened.
I wonder how they printed those newspapers, because is it the printing presses would make so much noise that the creatures ignored it?
I know. I was tilting my head sometimes to try to read some of those front pages.
I saw something about an asteroid or a meteor or something hitting the Earth. I saw a couple things in there that I'd really like to go back and get some screenshots of and read a little bit more of the backstory.
You know, it's funny you said that there's a very little dialogue in this, but even the silent moments, there's sound. You know,
yes,
like,
thank God.
When you hear it, even when you're with the deaf girl, you can hear like her internal.
Although in her perspective, no, a lot of times there was nothing. So you'd have one scene, everyone else you can hear the crunch of leaves or whatever, and then you get to her, it's like nothing.
If you're talking about movies that should be winning Oscars, horror movies, this should win for sound design, hands down, so far this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to beat.
And they also, you know, when you think, like when you watch The Walking Dead, there's so many times you're like, well, if they were in an abandoned world, the grass would be, you know, really high in all the yards and like all those kinds of like, did they think this out? This movie, with the fact that they were like putting sand down, they were painting where they should step. It just felt like they really sat down and said, if you had to be quiet, what were all the steps? That box they built to put the baby in with the oxygen mask.
Oh my God.
Brilliant. And then the rockets, forget about it.
The rock. And I like the light system.
Yes.
Oh,
the white lights, all right. Red lights, you're in trouble.
Did I miss it? Did they show they had solar panels and battery backups? Where was the power coming from?
They never show that. It can't be a generator.
No,
because that's too loud. I did like the fact that he would climb up on the the water tower and
The
light
silo.
fire. Was it? Oh yeah, the silo, and light the fire, and then you could see the other fires in the distance that that all right, there were a few of us alive, and then towards the end when the kids light it and there are no more fires.
Yeah, I thought that was outstanding.
You're in this great expansive land and you are so isolated. I thought that was brilliant.
That silo scene was awesome too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there was so many little details of that, like the door falls off, lands, and then becomes a pivotal prop in the scene.
Yep.
That was actually the scene when I realized just how tough these things were when it blew through the wall of the silo like it was tissue paper.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, you're not just gonna beat this thing with some sticks.
Nope.
Yeah.
And you've
gonna
got
take a
all
hell of a
that
lot
corn,
more.
but you can't make popcorn. That's what I call torture.
We laugh because my wife is allergic to corn. We're like, well, she's be as good as dead.
Oh.
we wouldn't even go in after her. She's like, all right, we love you.
My buddy said from the beginning when they're playing Monopoly and they knock over the fire and the carpet catches on fire in the house. He said, of all the games you would play, why would you pick Monopoly? One of them is just going to chuck that board against the wall here soon in frustration.
Well, you can't play any game that's got the Pop-Matic.
Yeah, Trouble. There's no playing Trouble.
Boggle.
Jenga.
Yahtzee.
What about the scene when they find the neighbor and his wife is dead?
Oh,
Man, that was good. I love that.
I want that. I got to watch again because I couldn't figure out why she's dead.
I don't know. It looked like something hit her in the stomach, so I don't know if it was.
I thought he killed her, but I need to go back and see it
Right?
again.
Did he kill her? Was it an accident? Did one of the things get her? Oh, by the way, talk about the monster. How awesome was that monster?
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
the design was really cool. With the ear thing and the plates over it.
The shifting plates on its head and the way oh my god, that was terrifying.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking signs. So
Well,
much.
because you got the rows of corn, it makes those clicking noises. There were definite similarities there.
Both are good character pieces,
Mm-hmm.
but this one, the added thing of silence was just brilliant, though.
Yeah, that's the brilliance
But
of this movie.
you're right. The movie, and let's face it, the ending is tremendous.
Oh,
That very last frame, perfect. Couldn't have ended it any better.
Yeah, you're right.
the pacing from when her water breaks, from that moment on, that movie does not stop. It is just
I know.
rocketing towards the ending. And
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of the tension came from for me. Is I was starting to feel tired. Like, holy shit, man, are they ever going to get through this night?
I know
Right.
you kept going. What? Come on! Felt like my life unfurling, going to shit really fast.
Even what they did with the boy, where he had seen his brother get killed, so it traumatized him and made him not want to do anything and not want to go anywhere. I thought that was incredibly well done too.
Oh, that scene where John Krasinski takes him out, and he doesn't want to go out, and he's trying to show him that, you're gonna have to take care of you might have to take care of your mother someday and your sister, and I thought that was touching.
Perhaps a little foreshadowing there.
Maybe.
Just a tad.
Would you guys want to see a sequel to this?
No.
No,
I agree.
no, you're not.
Because
Gonna,
that
you're not
ending
gonna
was-
improve it.
That ending was perfect. You're not going to. You almost don't want the same cast because that was such a perfect movie that leave it alone.
Don't Cloverfield it.
Yeah,
It's
let it
fine.
go.
Jim fucking Halpert will not do us wrong. He's moved on.
Jason, what was your problem with the movie?
The jump scare with the raccoon was so cheap and dumb at the beginning. It made me I'm like, come on, man.
Oh yeah.
Like that
Did you
was,
think of
what the hell
Did you
was
think
that?
of Lee Wanell telling us jump scares? Something has to happen.
Yes,
I
I completely agree with him, 100%.
I was actually glad though that the raccoons got eaten. Because I felt like, well, they're making noise. Why aren't they? And then they paid it off. So
Fortunately, that was the only jump scare that aggravated me. So it was just, that's a nitpick. But I just always feel like that can cheapen your movie if you have a bunch of jump scares where nothing happens. then it cheapens the real jump scares when something does happen. So,
And I don't even know if these are jump scares. It's just something happens after a sea of silence.
well, the raccoon was
Yeah,
it flew past the window and screeched, and it's like, oh, for
Yeah.
Christ's sake. That was
dumb.
it. And the ending, like you guys said, I felt like it was perfect because I don't know if you saw on the board, they said there were 3 in the area and they had just killed
Yeah.
1, and then you saw 2 more racing in on the cameras.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if they can kill those 2, they might be okay for a while. They might not even have to be
maybe.
quiet.
That maybe might live for a week. Might.
It might go outside sometime in the next 5 years.
Babies ain't quiet. Jesus.
Well, all right. So there was one thing that I was so grateful for was when the frequency started to drive the monster crazy. I was actually saying to myself, please don't let the head explode.
Me
Please
too.
don't let the head explode. And then it
Right.
didn't. And I was like, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for not going that route.
Yeah, no, it's just going to slow you down.
Yep.
So Mama Blunt can shoot you in the face.
This movie to me was an exercise in amazing writing. Just the setup of the world, how they deal with it, how they get through it, and then these characters just, man, loved it. Loved
And
it.
you're right. That third act, they hit the gas and then they don't let go. And that I'm telling you, you didn't know where the movie was going to end, and then when it does, I literally was like, oh my God, that's one of the best endings of a movie ever.
Yes. Yes. Yep. The mom and daughter, the look they shared, fantastic.
And no stupid line thrown out all of a sudden, like, let's call back a Schwarzenegger line from 1988.
Listen to this.
Can you hear me coming? No, perfect.
All right. Well, is that did anybody else have anything else to say, or put this one?
This is it, man. This is it for the year. Boom, number one for maybe all time for me.
I'm waiting on Hereditary. That's the other one I'm looking forward to this year. So.
I'm looking forward to that too. But when they compare it to The Exorcist, I start to go, nah.
Let's simmer down, folks.
I get nervous.
Everyone go watch this and support this movie. We want
Yes.
more like this.
I know people that couldn't get into the theaters Friday or Saturday, had to wait for a Sunday matinee to get in.
Damn.
So that's a good sign.
I saw it did 50 million or somewhere around there, so it's pretty damn good.
That's excellent.
Now, a quick message to the people in the chat room. Thank you for joining us and your support. When you're done with this, maybe you want to go over to iTunes and write us a review, maybe, or something. But other than that, thanks for your support. Next week is our 50th episode, fellas.
Bing, bing, bing. Who knew?
So to celebrate, why don't we watch something classic? What do you think?
The classic.
I like the classic.
All right, then.
Some kind of thing that we should watch.
I have something we can watch.
What thing
Let's
would
watch
that be?
The Thing.
The Thing?
The Thing.
I'm digging
You're
it.
talking about the one from the 2000s?
Absolutely.
You son of a bitch.
Just to make sure.
Kurt Russell, baby.
I think it's Kurt fucking Russell. You should get that.
Kurt fucking Russell.
You're
Jim
right.
fucking
He likes his
Halpern,
full name
Kurt
being
fucking
used.
Russell. What a great 2 weeks.
So,
All right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch The
Hunter's gonna go try and go see Truth or Dare, and
Yes, just so you all know, Friday the 13th is this coming Friday. A lot of tattoo parlors will give pre-made, pre-set up stenciled tattoos for $13. So go find a local tattoo parlor that will do that, like I'm doing with my kids. We're all going to get our tattoos, and then we're going straight to see Truth or Dare, Blumhouse's latest theatrical release.
I'm gonna watch Madonna's Truth or Dare, and we can compare.
Oh God, it might be a tight race.
Don't go for second best, baby. Put your love to the test.
I'm curious about that movie because the trailer did not grab me, but I thought there's an idea in there that could be something fun. So
Right.
let me know.
That'll be fun. I'll still be bleeding.
All right. Well done, fellas. And with that, we will bid you adieu and see you next week. Thanks for coming.
Go, yo, go, 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 go.
Bye.